hope you're getting my screen as well. So, last class we are discussing about this ARM templates, right? So we discussed about some various versions or different types. How can we create the storage accounts, right? So from a basically, if you observe this initially this Azure deploy. So initial JSON. So just we have started and then we have modified so many changes on the existing code basically, right? And then we discussed about two types of modes, basically incremental mode and complete mode. So whenever by default it is an incremental mode, right? So or if you want to specify these modes explicitly, so even you can specify in this respective form basically. Okay, so if you go with incremental mode, so let us assume we are already having some 3 storage accounts, right? So if you are going with the, if you are giving, let us assume maybe some arm test1 dot just one dot JSON. Within this particular JSON, we are already having some same storage account. So now, whenever if you're trying to execute this piece of command, so it will not disturb the existing storage accounts. So first of all, it will cross check. So do we have a storage account with this particular name inside of Azure Cloud account or not? So if it is exist, it will not create. Otherwise, it will create a new account. Sorry, new storage account, right? But if you go with the complete mode, so if you observe the same scenario here, what is the problem is, so it will try to delete the remaining storage account names. It will delete all the remaining things. So finally it is trying to create only one storage account inside of Azure Cloud account. Okay, so then we discussed about passing the parameters, uh, means within a JSON file, right? So if you want to pass only this parameters tag, so that thing we discussed about Azure param.json. So here you need to include this piece of command. Okay, so these are things which were discussed in our last class basically. Any doubts? Any of you still here? Hello? Any doubts? Sorry. Okay, so today we will discuss about last class itself we discussed about different ways, right? Different ways to create some storage account by using some portal and by using some PowerShell as well, right? So today, just we discussed about uh, this PowerShell related stuff. So that is PowerShell. So as I mentioned in our previous class, basically we're having two types of PowerShells, right? So one is PowerShell ISC and normal PowerShell. So till now we have done with, we have executed some pre-defined commands which is related to some storage account. These all these things. These all the whatever the stuff which are discussed in our previous class. So only with normal PowerShell. But if you're going with some PowerShell ISC, as I mentioned, it is integrated with some other applications or integrated scripting environment, right? So it is a scripting language, so which is related for a Windows operating system. Okay, basically. So it is an scripting language for Windows. Okay, Okay, so as I mentioned you, we have two types of PowerShells. One is integrated with some other applications or services. PowerShell ISC, nothing but integrated scripting environment. So now, if you go to the start button and if you type PowerShell, right? So go with this one, PowerShell ISC. So it will open somewhat in the form of an IDE. So IDE is nothing but an integrated development environment. So basically, if you observe the normal PowerShell and this PowerShell, so normal PowerShell, it is almost similar to your command prompt. Okay, so only difference between this command prompt and this PowerShell is by using this PowerShell, even you can connect your Azure cloud account by using some predefined commands. This all this stuff we have seen already. But if you observe this Windows PowerShell ISE, so just it looks like somewhat an IDE. So which you can develop some scripting related languages or scripting related applications. What I mean to say. Okay, so go to file and click on new, or otherwise already by default you want to get a new file. So here, uh, let us assume I want to print something. Okay, so maybe I want to print my name, right? So if you want to print something, so we're having a predefined command, predefined thing called as not a command here. Basically these are the not a commands. Write host. So if you want to print something, or if you want to write something within this PowerShell prompt, right? We're having a predefined, uh, what we can call it as, it is not a variable. Otherwise, you can call it as an, it's a command. Okay, predefined one. So maybe some, so like this. Okay, so Control A. So select all these things. Just execute. See here. Here, what is the output here? My name is Shiva. So it is trying to execute this piece of line. I mean, whatever the thing which have written within inside of this ISC or within this IDE. So then it is going to print whatever the things which you have enclosed in the double quotes. So simply you can remember it as, if you want to write something, so we need to go with write hyphen host. Okay. Even you can modify, you can write it somewhat if you want to define in a variable. Basically, if you observe these basic programming languages like C, C++, Java, right? So if you want to print something, basically they are storing some value in a variable. So like maybe some int a equal to 10, who is already having some knowledge. So here that a is nothing but what we are calling as a variable basically. So if you want to, if you want to store something in PowerShell point of view, right? So we need to define with a dollar followed by some variable name. So maybe some name. Okay, dollar name is equal to, now here what I'm doing is, instead of write host, I'm going with the read host. So what is your name? So here, so if you want to write something, we're going with write host, right? So same way, if you want to read something, so you can go with read host basically. Okay, so then you can print this specific variable name, that is nothing but a, I have given my variable name as a name, right? So now write host, my name is, so like this. Okay, so just I can comment this one. So now if you try to, you can simply click on F5. So see here, now it is asking what is your name, right? So Shiva, click on enter. My name is Shiva. So here, what is the difference here? So basically, if you go with this right host, just we are printing something. But here, what we are doing is, so before printing my name is Shiva, so we are taking input, whatever the name you want, you can take input as your name maybe. So here, if you observe, so here we are taking input as in Shiva. So that same thing we are printing here. My name is Shiva. So that is possible by using the write host to write something. And if you want to read something from this respect to PowerShell, so we can go with some read host here basically. Okay. So now I want to read uh, in different format. Maybe some what is your first name, last name, maybe some location. So just I want to make it as in I want to store some different different what we call different this type of things. Nothing but here, what is your name, right? So in this form, just I want to store it in a multiple variables. Here, name is nothing but a one variable. So like that, I can take some multiple variables here. Okay. So just for understanding sake. So here, what I'm doing is, so dollar f name equal to, so read host. So just I'm taking as what is your first name, something like this. Dollar l name read host, what is your last name. Dollar location read host, what is your location. Okay, so now just for that, so whenever if you're executing these three piece of code or three piece of lines, right? So it is going to take it from the PowerShell prompt. So now if I want to print something, if I want to print all these variable values, so here f name is having some value, what is your first name, right? Last name is having some value, what is your last name? Location, what is your location? So these things just I want to print it here. So for this we need to go with write host. So my name is dollar, maybe some f name, and again dollar l name. I am located I am located in dollar location, something like this. Okay. So now if you execute this piece of code, so what is your first name? What is your last name? What is your location? Click on enter. So my name is Ramakrishna. I am located in RJ. Okay, so like this. So like this, you can take some and number of things basically. Okay. So now let us summarize these things. So if you want to write something in PowerShell prompt, right? That is nothing but write host. So if you want to something from PowerShell, that is read host. So we have taken some enough examples, right? Both this read host and write host basically. So now PowerShell operators. Arithmetic operators. So 20 plus 30, 50. 20 plus 30 into 3. Basically, if you execute this 20 plus 30 here, so here we're getting some 50, right? So now 20 plus 30 into 3, we're getting some 110. Basically, if you observe 20 plus 30, 50. 50 into 3, 150. We need to get 150, but here we're getting some 110, right? So the problem is here basically we need to follow this BODMAS rule, right? So if you remember in our childhood, just we studied about this BODMAS rule. So first it will consider based upon this BODMAS rule, it is going to give some priority. So now here if you want to get a 150, so just include this brackets here. So first it is trying to execute this. I mean, if you want, it is going to perform some addition operation between 20 plus 30, and whatever the result which you are getting, so that result will be multiplied with the 3. So now if you observe, we're having 150. Okay. So this is nothing but arithmetic operators. So 20 plus 30, 150. Okay. So now comparison operators. Okay, just to compare two values basically. Okay, so here just I'm defining two variables. So here if you want to define some variable, or if you want to store some value in a specific variable, so here if you observe, this 10 is a value in which we are storing in a variable, right? So but here we need to include some dollar initially. Okay, so maybe some dollar is equal to 20, dollar a greater than dollar b. Dollar a less than dollar b. Dollar a le means less than equals dollar b. Okay, like this. Okay, So now here if you go with maybe some dollar a is equal to 10, dollar b is equal to 20, dollar a greater than dollar b, dollar a less than dollar b, dollar a less than equals dollar b. So like this. See here. So here a is 10, right? So 10 greater than 20 is a false. So 10 less than 20 it is a true, right? So 10 equals to 20. I mean less than equals to means so 10 less than 20. So this condition is satisfied. So that is the reason 2. So this is nothing but a comparison operators. Assignment operators. So here dollar a is equal to 10, dollar b is equal to, just I'm defining variables with some values. Dollar c is equal to 3, dollar a plus dollar b into dollar c, dollar a plus dollar b, dollar c. Okay, this is same thing. So as we discussed here, basically. Okay. So here directly we have performed operations, or directly we did not include any variables basically. Here just we have included the variables. That is the only difference. Okay. Just execute. See here. So 20 20 sorry 10 plus 20 30 30 into 3, basically we need to have 90, right? So this is the 90 we're having. So but here we're having some 70. So 20 into, I mean 10 into 10 plus 20 50, sorry 30, 30 into 3 60. It is displaying as in 70. Sorry, here a 10 plus 20, what is this one, 30, right? So basically we need to get some output as a 90 if you are not including these brackets, right? So it is displaying as an 70. Okay, so here also we need to follow that bottommost rule specifically. So this is nothing but a assignment operators, logical operators. So just I'm defining some variables. Maybe dollar a is equal to 10, dollar b is equal to 20, dollar c is equal to 30. So here what I'm doing is dollar a less than equal to less than, not less than equal to, less than, lt is less than. Okay, so dollar b, and here hyphen and dollar b less than dollar c. So if you observe these logical operators, right? So we are comparing two values. So this is one value and this is one more value, right? So in between we're using some and, nothing but a logical operators. So logical operators basically we're having some and or. So if you go with the and, So this value should be true and this value also should be true, then only final output we're going to get some true. So if one thing is false, let us assume if this one is false and if this one is true, so we're going to get false only. Okay, both values should be true, then only the final output will be true. Okay, so same way we're having some or operator as well. Dollar a hyphen less than $b hyphen or $b hyphen less than $c. So here we have applied for R. So R is means nothing but if one thing is true, so finally we'll want to get output as a true. If at least one value should be true. So if this one is true and this one is false, we'll get some true. If this one is false and this one is true, true. If both are true, true. If both are false, false. Okay, that is okay. Okay, both are true currently. So this is nothing but a logical operators. And even within this PowerShell, right? So even we can write uh, what we call some conditions as well. Means, so let us assume if we're writing some program, right? So if something is happened, so we need to execute this piece of code. If that piece of code, if that condition is not matched, let us assume we're having some condition. If that condition is true, so execute this piece of code. If that condition is false, so try to execute this piece of code. So like that, if you're having this type of scenario, so we're having some uh, different condition statements which we need to implement here, like if else condition or if else if condition. So this type of conditional statements we need to include. Means if something is true, so we need to execute this piece of code. If that is not true, so try to execute this piece of code. Okay, so that is nothing but so we'll write some, what we're having is if else code syntax, if else not code here, if else condition, if else condition syntax. So here if, so we need to write here piece of code. So like this. So here we can mention some condition. If this condition is true, execute this piece of code. So if this condition is false, so try to execute this else condition or else part, what I mean to say. Okay. So like that we can write these types of conditional statements within this PowerShell as well. Okay. So we'll write a piece of a small program. So just I want to print some even and odd numbers, let us assume. Okay, so first of all, what is the thing which we need to do in coding point of view. So as I mentioned you, so if whatever the number in which you are providing, so if that number is even, so it should be printed as an even, else it's an odd number basically. So first of all, here the basic thing is, first of all we need to take the number. So take the number from the keyboard, right? So that thing is possible by using read host. If you want to take something, we need to go with a read host. If you want to print something, we need to go with a write host, as I mentioned, right? So basically here I want to take the input value. I want to take the value, right? Some number I want to take it. So that is when we need to go with a read host. So that is, so dollar num. So just I'm taking some variable name as in num. So read host. So enter the number, something I'm giving. So now here I'm writing some condition. If $num percentage to equals 0, right? I want to print something. So if you want to print something, need to go with a right host, nothing but $number is an even number. Else right host $number is an odd number. So this is the thing. Okay, so just here first of all we are taking some number, so that is possible by using some read host. So let us assume I have given some number as a 20, right? So 20% is 2. So if 20 divided by 2, if we're getting some remainder as an 0, so then it will print as an that particular number is an even number, else odd number here. Okay, very simple. So just copy this one. So enter number some 13. Here 13 is an odd number. So maybe some 20. 20 is an even number. Okay, so this type of things is possible by using if else conditional statements. Okay, if something is true, so just execute this piece of code. If that is not true or if it is a false, so just execute some piece of code like some else basically. Okay, so similarly we're having one more thing called as an if else conditional syntax. So this is nothing but a if else condition syntax, right? Similarly we're having like this: if else if else condition syntax. So here between this if and else, it is going to add a one more conditional statement. There is nothing but a else if basically. Okay, so let us write some piece of code. So here just I'm taking some age. So based upon the age, right? So if maybe some age greater than 18, so just you can take some cool drink, or if it is between 18 to and 45, maybe some 50, you can take some water, right? Else drink milk. Okay, I mean above 45 or above 50 years, so just drink the milk. So like that basically. Okay, so first I want to I need to take a value, so some number value, right? So for this we need to go with a read host, as you know. So dollar $age is equal to maybe some read host. What is your age? Okay, if dollar age less than 18, right? Right host, you can take cold drink. So now here we're including one more thing called as an else if, right? So here we are going with some logical operators which we discussed already. So here dollar age I can greater than 18 and dollar age less than 45, right? Right host, you can take water, something like this. else. Right host, better to drink milk. Okay, like this basically. Okay, so dollar age, so just we are taking from the PowerShell prompt, right? So if age is less than 18, right, you can take some cool drink. So if age falls under in between this 18 and 45, so you can take water. So rest of them, so you can take better to drink milk, something like this. So just I'm including else if, that is the only difference. And here we have included some logical operators. Okay, so just copy this piece of code. Missing statement, not punch keyword. So what is your age? You can take cool drink, maybe some 25. You can take water, 50. Better to drink milk. So here basically we have written the piece of code. Here we need to write the syntax as well, right? So if condition some code, so else if again code, again code, right? So this is syntax basically. So this is an example. So here no need to provide space. Okay, this is another matter. If, else if, and else. These are the conditional statements here basically. Okay, so any doubts till now, any of you? Swati, Sujit, Narasimha.
No, sir. Not
So that's all for today.